Breaking news out of Oklahoma. Some massive tornadoes have gone through suburbs of Oklahoma City. An elementary school took a direct hit. There are reports that up to 75 students are trapped under the debris. This is what is left following a massive tornado in the Oklahoma City area this afternoon. Just take a look at this video. People in the area say houses have been leveled and it looks like a war zone. The tornado was estimated to be at least 2 miles wide. At least 2 people are dead. An area hospital has been evacuated because of damage. Patients there are being moved to other facilities. Today on the CTV News at 5, deadly long weekend. At least 5 people are killed in separate crashes across the province. Plus, southern Alberta campers pack up after the first big camping weekend of the summer. And the Brooks Bandits are the champions again.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
It's become an unfortunate May long weekend tradition. And this year, as in years past, tragedy on southern Alberta's highways. 5 people are dead following 5 separate crashes across the province over the Victoria Day weekend. The victims range in age from 26 years old to 39. And according to all RCMP, they were all preventable. The tragic crashes leave friends and families to mourn the loss of their loved ones. Officers say that while the majority of drivers are getting the safe holiday travel message, fatalities remain a common occurrence on the Victoria Day weekend.
See more serious injury and fatal collisions on long weekends, and for that reason we've basically brought in as many resources as we can. We've got people working overtime, we've got unmarked cars, marked cars, motorcycles, we've got everything out there, just trying to keep the highways safe for weekend travelers.
Band members of the Piikani First Nation are still dealing with the shock and horror after a 26-year-old woman was hit and killed by a vehicle, then left on the road to die. Friday night, a 26-year-old woman was walking along Highway 3 when she was hit by a vehicle at the Range Road 282 intersection on the Reserve. While the name of the victim has not been released, a number of people on our Facebook page have given their condolences to the Four-Horn Warrior family. RCMP want to speak with anyone who may have seen the accident or was traveling along Highway 3 around 10:45 p.m. Friday. Anyone with information is being urged to contact police or Crime Stoppers. RCMP are also continuing their investigation into a fatal crash near Staveley. It happened Saturday afternoon along Highway 2, about 1.5 kilometers south of Staveley. Officers say a minivan tried to cross both lanes of traffic and was hit by a northbound semi. The driver of the van, a man, died at the scene. The driver of the semi, he was taken to hospital as a precaution and then later released. RCMP say alcohol was found at the scene of the crash. Charges are not anticipated. No names will be released. While it's been a deadly weekend on Alberta highways, tragedy was likely averted on the QE2 when police stopped a teenage driver going 187 kilometers an hour. The Nissan Altima was southbound near Crossfield this morning when officers clocked it going more than 60 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. Police say a 15-year-old girl was behind the wheel. She didn't have a license. They say she tried to jump out of the driver's seat as they approached. She's facing 4 charges and will appear in court in July. The vehicle, it didn't have insurance or registration papers. Well, every long weekend, it's sadly inevitable, from car accidents to ATV collisions. Albertans rely on air ambulances to save lives. Bridget Brown had the rare opportunity to ride along with stars in a story you'll only see here.
You've likely seen the bright red helicopters up in the sky. Stars Air Ambulance is up in the air working to save lives an average of 4 times a day. And today they invited us to go along with them. The first thing you notice when you get in the back of the helicopter is just how cramped the quarters are. Each team usually consists of 1 highly trained paramedic and 1 nurse, and all of their gear has to fit in the back of that helicopter, leaving just a narrow area where the patient on a stretcher will go.
Some of the big adjustments, obviously space. It's very confined in the back of the aircraft, so that certainly takes a lot to get used to. The other thing is noise. The inability to be able to talk to your partner sometimes, with the amount of noise in the back of that is definitely a challenge.
Our first call was an intra-hospital transport. They headed out to Banff to look after an extremely premature baby, along with some doctors from the foothills to help. But other calls this weekend have included more long weekend-related things, like ATV accidents, a motorcycle collision, as well as a campfire injury. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll take a closer look at being in the air with stars.
Thank you, Bridget. Well, witnesses are calling it unbelievable and horrifying. A young boy is dead after a family of 4 was run over while having dinner on a restaurant patio in Edmonton.
I just hear someone was crying and kept saying, oh my God, oh my God.
It happened just before 8 o'clock last night. The man, woman, and 2 children were rushed to hospital where a 2-year-old boy succumbed to his injuries. Injuries to the parents and the 1-year-old child are not life-threatening. The driver of an SUV went straight through a glass barrier and slammed into the dining family. Police are investigating whether alcohol was a factor. The 62-year-old driver was arrested and police say charges are pending. Investigators continue to search for answers as to why a pair of locomotives collided on Saturday, sending 4 cars tumbling off the tracks. It happened around 1:30 in the afternoon just east of Dunmore, outside of Medicine Hat. One conductor was taken to hospital as a precaution, then released. Rail officials say the crash happened during train yard operations. Now, there were no environmental or safety risks, nor were there any danger to the surrounding communities. A massage therapist is facing charges after a client told Lethbridge Regional Police that she had been sexually assaulted. Officers charged 43-year-old Darren Hutchinson with sexual assault following an investigation. He has been released from custody. He'll be back in court on May the 30th. Okay, Dory, this week for the temperatures, we're gonna really mix it up a little.
Yeah, we are. We're going to have, sun and cloud mix for tomorrow and as we get into Wednesday, but towards the end of the week, Thursday and Friday look like the wettest days. So I'll have all those details. Temperatures are kind of up and down and so are the conditions. So welcome to May weather. I'll have more in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. Well, conditions weren't exactly ideal for camping this weekend, as is the case for most years on the May long weekend, but that didn't stop campers from getting out and enjoying the outdoors.
Great. Who cares about rain? What matters is that everybody's together and that we're having a great time.
That was a common sentiment among campers we spoke to this morning at Park Lake. Campers were cleaning up and heading home after the long weekend. The campground was near capacity for days despite the sometimes dreary conditions. Most say they were lucky and didn't experience too much rain and were able to have a great time with friends and family.
The forecasted rain was more of a little drizzle, and weather was nice and warm enough that really didn't bother us that much.
Well, we set up a tarp over at another site, and we all crowded in around it. I think there was about 16 of us sitting under a little tarp all evening there. It was comfy.
Park officials say they dealt with very few complaints of any kind. It's a gut-wrenching decision for anyone to send your loved ones to live in a care facility. Now imagine finding out that they are being abused. An Ontario man says that's exactly what happened to his mother, and he's got some shocking video, he says, to prove it. Now the story comes just a week after Alberta government inspectors began an investigation into allegations of abuse and neglect at 2 Brooks senior care centres. A warning now, you may find some of the images disturbing. Ashley Rowe reports.
I love you with all my heart.
Her warmth is contagious. Helen McDonald, a fragile 85-year-old woman suffering from dementia, communicates with affection.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Thank you. You're beautiful too.
So it's difficult to imagine how during her most vulnerable moments she could be treated like this. A hidden camera captures shocking handling by staff at St. Joseph's at Fleming Long-Term Care Home in Peterborough. Video shot over a 3-week period shows one worker shoving feces-covered rags to her face, another wiping his nose on her sheets, employees changing McDonald's diaper with the door wide open.
To see my mom, to see what happened to her, very upsetting. I've never had my heart beat like it beat it that night.
McDonald's son Camille Parent planted the camera after multiple incidents he thought were suspicious.
This should not be happening, and it's not acceptable.
The CEO at the home says he's shocked after reviewing Parent's videos.
Was what you saw abuse?
I don't want to give my opinion. directly. I would think that most people would say that it was.
4 employees have been suspended with pay while formal internal and provincial investigations take place. The Ministry of Health has confirmed it is investigating this case. According to the Long-Term Care Homes Act, which came into effect in 2010, there's a zero-tolerance policy for any neglect or abuse. This incident once again raises concerns about long-term care residents' safety. A W5 investigation discovered that more than 10,000 seniors suffer abuse in nursing homes across Canada in just 1 year.
The number one thing I'd like to see is the ombudsman get involved and take the investigation, the whole part of the investigation, away from the Crown.
Parent says he wants to see all homes lower the ratio of residents to staff and hold employees to a higher standard. Ashley Rowe, CTV News, Peterborough, Ontario.
Back to news in southern Alberta. Lethbridge's new home for the arts continued its grand opening celebrations this weekend. This is the Roire Band, one of 7 local artists who performed over the weekend. The event was dubbed Party on the Plaza, but due to the gloomy weather conditions, most stayed indoors to enjoy the live musical performances. The event was free to the public, who organizers say have been embracing the new art space.
I think they've been really excited about it. I think there was a bunch of mystery surrounding this building, what was in here. Everyone was kind of dying to get in, and once people have been in here, I think they've really embraced it and have been pretty excited about having a place to create art in Lethbridge.
CASA officials say they are thrilled with their opening week attendance figures and expect it to grow as the community embraces the new art center. On to the markets now. While Canadian markets were actually closed today because of the Victoria Day, Wall Street started strong, then ended the day slightly lower.